We have four methods of finding the solutions of quadratic equations, and each is best used depending on the characteristics of the given equation. We use extracting the square roots when there is a quadratic term but no linear term, and the equation must be in the form ax squared equals c before solving it. We use factoring when the quadratic equation has small coefficients that can be factored easily, and the equations must be written first in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, or the standard form. We use completing the square when the numbers are not too large and the leading coefficient is 1, and the equation must be written first in the form ax squared plus bx equals c. Now, if the solutions of the quadratic equations are integers here, it means that the equation can be solved also by factoring. And finally, we make use of the quadratic formula when there are fractions and decimals or large numbers, and the equation must be written first in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, just like factoring. And for this, we have the following learning targets. I can solve for the solutions of a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula, and I can choose the best method to use for a given quadratic equation. The solutions of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a should not be equal to 0, are x equals negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, which is our quadratic formula. Now, let us use this equation in solving quadratic equations. So we have here 2x squared plus 3x minus 15 equals 0, which is already in the standard form. So we can now proceed with the first step, which is we are going to identify the values of a, b, and c. Okay. So let's make use of white here. Okay. So our a here, our a is equal to 2, the coefficient of the quadratic term. Then our b is the coefficient of the linear term. Then we have our c is equal to negative 15. The next thing that we are going to do is substitute these values in our quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, so let's now substitute. We have now negative b. Our b is positive 3. Now, take note, students, when you substitute a value, always enclose it in a parenthesis to avoid confusion, especially when the value to be substituted is negative. Then we have plus minus the square root of b is 3. So we have 3 squared minus 4 times our a, 2, times our c, negative 15. Okay, over 2 times a, that is equal to 2. Then we have now negative times positive 3 is negative 3, plus minus the square root of 3 squared is equal to 9. Negative times negative is positive. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 15 is equal to 120. Divided by 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Let's continue with this. Then we have now x is equal to negative 3 plus minus the square root of 129 over 4. Can we still simplify square root of 129? Let's check. Okay, let's do prime factorization and see if there is a perfect square factor of 129. So 129 is obviously divisible by 3. Then 129 divided by 3 is equal to 43. And of course, 43 does not contain a perfect square factor also, or it cannot be factored anymore. Okay, it's already prime number. So we have here, the solutions now are x sub 1. The first solution, we have negative 3 plus the square root of 129 over 4. And the other one is negative 3 minus square root of 129 over 4. So these are the solutions. Okay? For the next equation, 4x squared minus 3x minus 15 equals 18, notice that this is not yet in the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we are going to transpose positive 18 to the left side. Thus we have x squared minus 3x minus 5 minus 18 equals 0. Combine this. So we have 4x squared minus 3x negative 5 minus 18. Okay, they're both negative, so add, copy the common sign. 5 plus 18 is equal to 23. The common sign is negative, so equals 0. Then we have here a is equal to 4, our b is equal to negative 3, and our c is equal to negative 23. Okay, and then we substitute these values in our quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So we have now x is equal to our negative of b. Again, when you substitute, enclose the value in a parenthesis to avoid confusion, especially when the substituted value, to be substituted value is negative. So we have here negative 3 plus minus the square root of our b is negative 3 squared minus 4 times a, that is 4, and our c is negative 23. Okay, divided by 2 times a, is which is equal to 4. Let's continue in this part. So we have now x is equal to negative times negative is positive 3 plus minus the square root of negative 3 squared is equal to 9. Negative times negative is positive. 4 times 4, 4 times 4 times 23 is equal to 368. Divided by 2 times 4 is equal to 8. So we have now x is equal to 3 plus minus the square root of 368 plus 9 is equal to 377. Okay. So obviously, walang perfect square factor sa 377, so it remains in the radical sign. So you have over 8. Okay. So we have here x now is equal to 3 plus minus plus, okay, 3 plus square root of 377 over 8. Then we have x, second value of x is 3 minus square root of 377 over 8. So that's it. For your practice, kindly answer these two items. Find the solutions of each quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Now, I want you to pause this video for a while and solve each item. Then after answering these items, kindly play it again. So let us check. So first is we are going to write the equation in the standard form, and these two equations are already in the standard form. So what we are going to do is identify the values of a, b, and c. So here our a is equal to 2, our b is equal to negative 7, and our c is equal to 3. Then we substitute in the formula. X is equal to negative of b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then we have now substitute each. We have negative of b. Our b is negative 7. Again, when you substitute, enclose the value in a parenthesis. Then we have plus minus the square root of b is negative 7 squared minus 4. Our a is equal to 2 and our c is equal to 3. Okay, divided by 2 times a, which is equal to 2. Then we have negative times negative 7 is positive 7 plus minus the square root of negative 7 squared equals 49. Then negative times positive is negative. Then we have 4 times 2 equals 8. 8 times 3 equals 24. Over 2 times 2 is equal to 5. Then we simplify the the numbers inside the radical. So we have 7 plus minus. We have 49 minus 24 is equal to 25 over 4. Then we have now, let's continue here. So we have 7 plus minus the square root of 25, which is 5 over 4. So we have the first value of x is equal to 7 plus 5 over 4. So 7 plus 5 is equal to 12 divided by 4, which is equal to 3. And then our second value of x is 7 minus 5 over 4. So we have 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. 2 over 4 is equal to 1/2. So we have the two solutions, 3 and 1/2. Okay? Next, for item number 2, we have our A is equal to 5.3, our B is equal to negative 12, and our C is equal to negative 25. Then substitute in the formula, x is equal to the negative of b. Our b is negative 12 plus minus the square root of b, which is negative 12 square, b squared minus 4 times AC. Our A is 5.3 and our C is equal to negative 25. Of course, if you're going to have this kind of equation in completing the square as well as in factoring, it will be quite difficult. Then we have 2 times A. Our A is equal to 5.3. Then we simplify. So we have negative times negative is positive 12 plus minus. Okay. Negative 12 squared is equal to 144. Then let's check the signs first. Negative times positive is negative. Negative times negative is positive. Then we get the product of the three numbers. 4 times 5.3 times 25. By the way, it's not 2.5. It's 25 equals 530. Okay. Then divide by 2 times 5.530. 2 times 5.3 is equal to 10.6. You have 10.6. Then we have 12 plus minus square root of 144 plus 530 is equal to 674 over 10.6. Okay. So we also have here the option of getting the exact value of the radical. Say we have here 12 plus square root of 674 is 25.96. Okay, 25.96 over 10.6. So that is what we are going to do if you're asked to determine the exact value, especially when you are asked to solve real life problems. So we have now x sub 1 is equal to, let's have it here, x sub 1 is equal to 12 plus minus 12 plus 25.96 over 10.6. So we have 12 plus 25.96 equals, divided by 10.6, just make use of a calculator. So we have x is equal to 3.58. Then we have x sub 2 is equal to 12 minus 25.96 over 10.6. So we have 12 minus 25.96 is equal to, then we divide it by 10.6, Then we have negative 1.31. Negative 1.31. That is now our second value of x. Okay, so now let us take a closer look at this. Solve x squared plus 6x plus 9 using factoring, completing the square and quadratic formula, and tell which method will best solve the given equation. So let's solve it by factoring. Let's copy first. In factoring, we have to make sure that the equation is written in the standard form. Okay, so we have here ax squared. You have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So obviously that equation x squared plus 6x plus 9 is already in this form. Then we look for the factors of x squared, which are x times x, and then the factors of 9, when added the sum is 6, so we have positive 3 and positive 3. 3 times 3 equals 9, and 3 plus 3 equals 6. Then we apply the zero product property. Obviously, we have one solution here because the factors are just the same. So we have x plus 3 is equal to 0. So we only have one solution, and that is x equals negative 3. Now let us solve this one using the completing the square. In using the completing the square method, the equation must be written in the form ax squared plus bx equals c. So here we are going to transpose positive 9, so it becomes negative 9. And then what we are going to do is complete the trinomial, okay, plus blank equals negative 9 plus blank. Then we have get the square of half of 6. Square of half of 6. So we have now x squared plus 6x plus 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. Then 3 squared equals 9 is equal to negative 9 plus 9. Okay. So we're going to express this one as a square of a binomial. So we have square root of x squared is x. Half of 6 is 3. Then we have here negative 9 plus 9 equals 0. Then we raise both sides to 1/2. So we have here, apply power law. So we have x plus 3 is equal to the square root of 0. And the square root of 0 is 0. So we only have here x plus 3 equals 0. Transpose x 3 to the other side, so we have x is equal to negative 3. Okay, so indeed we only have one solution, and that is x equals negative 3. Now, if you're going to make use of the quadratic formula, okay, just like factoring, the equation must be written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we'll just copy this equation here. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 0. Identify the values of a, b, and c. So we have our a is 1, our b is equal to 6, and our c is equal to 9. And then we are going to substitute it in the equation. Quadratic formula, x is equal to the negative of b, which is 6, plus minus the square root of our b is 6, 6 squared, minus 4 times a, that is 1, and our c is equal to 9. Divided by 2 times a, that is 1. Then we have negative times positive 6 is negative 6, plus minus the square root of 6 squared is 36. Negative times positive is negative. 4 times 1 times 9 is equal to 36. Okay, over 2. So we have negative 6 plus minus 36 minus 36. We have square root of 0, which is equal to 0, divided by 2. So ito wala na to. So mean to say we only have negative 6 divided by 2, which is equal to negative 3. Indeed, we only have one solution. Now, among the three methods used, which one will best solve the given equation? Obviously, it is by factoring. So meaning to say, if you can now already detect that the equation can be solved by factoring, do not use any more completing the square or quadratic formula. Okay? Of course, we make use of completing the square method in higher mathematics. Okay? So, hindi rin pwedeng kalimutan si completing the square method. Okay? So, that's it. So, that's how we determine which solution is best for a particular equation. Next, for your activity, which will be graded, okay, we have here test of understanding, a synthesis on methods in finding the roots of quadratic equation. We have our topical essential question. What is the best method in finding the roots or solutions of a quadratic equation? So we have here equation 1, 2, and 3. Now it's up to you to determine the best solution that will, the best method that will get or find the solutions of the quadratic equations. Okay, then do not forget to complete the statement below so that you'll be able to get the pattern and answer the essential question. Okay, so I know you can do it very well. Okay, thank you and see you in our next video lesson.